Do you see it? Do you see it? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sandbox Wednesday live stream. Today is December 30th, and I am here today with you to talk about the Sandbox Game Jam number 3, where you can, if you are first place in this contest, win up to $10,000 worth of sand tokens and a land NFT. Uh, the purpose of our Wednesday live streams. Hello, everyone who is joining. The purpose of our Wednesday live streams is that I play your games with you that you have published into the gallery in the Sandbox Game Maker. Playing those games, I will test it and give you feedback to help create a better and more complete game for you to publish in the metaverse. Uh, while we lead up to these game jams and the submission of your games, I would be very happy to see these games submitted into the gallery as you are testing them so that I can give you feedback if you're interested in them and hopefully push you towards getting closer to winning that $10,000 grand prize. So we've got a few Wednesdays left until the submissions close on this game jam. I think it's 3. Yeah, they'll close on the 23rd. So we've got 3 more Wednesdays besides this one to submit those games. So we got the 6th, right? And then we've got 13th and the 20th. So this Wednesday, I'm going to open up the Game Maker. We're going to go over to the gallery, play a few more of those games. But if you have a game that you are creating for this game jam and you want some tips, some help getting there, some other things, that is the purpose of our Wednesday stream. So I'm going to stay focused on that for the next few weeks. Not a lot of news, not a lot of filler, but we want to make sure that we are producing good, high quality content going forward. So hello, everyone. What games are live now? You can actually play quite a few games in the gallery. Games that were made in previous game jams are in there. And anything anybody creates and just publishes or pushes out there, the game in that state, are available inside the gallery in the Sandbox Game Maker. There are some other games that are not inside the gallery that are already on the back end privately being tested to get the metaverse ready. Those games will be ready, and you can find out about them when you see those retweets, like games like Planet Rift, games like, well, there are many of them. I can't think of them all off the top of my head. I know our social spaces are being built. There's some other things. We're currently working on that metaverse activity on the back end, so haven't talked about it. I won't go into details on it, but it is there. So there's a lot going on, but the focus of these Wednesday games, as I mentioned, is to play them, to play your games. So I highly encourage that you, if you're watching right now and you are developing a game and it's halfway done, publish it to the gallery. And if you want the feedback, I'll give you the feedback so you can get closer to getting first place. Just objectively, I think I've got a pretty good beat on what the team is, or how the way that the team votes, what happens when they vote. And then before we get into play, though, I'm going to highlight what the Game Jam is. And then I'm going to highlight something new that we have for you, a new tool to help you make these games better, besides just our streams that we do on Saturdays, and then this one here on Wednesday. So, as of December 23rd, we announced this Game Jam. You have an option to now find a team if you want to create a team where you can send the file back and forth between each other and continue to work on this game in maybe off hours for one, is active hours for another. So that's available over on our Discord channel. Of course, you can join these live streams here. The dates are a little bit off on this, as it is the 30th instead of the 28th, and I believe it was the 26th. So we're doing these live streams again every Wednesday, every Saturday, to help you on your way up to the Game Jam. And then on January 6th, the official opening of the submissions starts. So if you've already got a fully finished game by January 6th, you can submit that. And then again, the 23rd of January is the close on these, so you must have your game fully finished and submitted by then, where judging will begin. We will judge out of the gallery, so if you have a version of the game And let's say you publish one so that I can test it, and then you want to publish it again under the correct title. You can always say like version 2 on it or something like that, and the team will understand that your final version that you submitted was the version 2, 3, 4, what have you. January 30th, and I would recommend don't name it final, because you might make an edit after you write final, and then that would be confusing for the team if we were doing that. And then we will host another live stream on January 30th where we will announce the winners of the Game Jam. Those live streams are largely popular, and as with all other live streams, we tend to do some giveaways while we are in there. Again, if you are watching and it's your first time watching here today on the stream, about every 15 minutes I will be giving away 100 sand tokens, and then also on top of that, and I actually didn't create the form, so you may see me create the form here live here in a few minutes, but we'll see about that. Anyway, if you are a sand winner, that will also make you eligible to win an exclusive NFT that you can only win one time ever, and the only way to ever win it is to win it right here on the stream. So that is a Wizzy the Blue NFT. Again, they're super limited, exclusive only to this stream. So look for that. You can use that asset in your game, even in your Game Jam game, if you happen to win it here on the stream. So the theme officially is Level Up, where that theme is just inspiration for your creation. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it is up to your interpretation. So you'll want to use the Level Up theme, and then the only significant rule is that you would use GameMaker version 0.4 to create your game, and you must use a feature of 0.4 that came out in 0.4. 3 unique features. So for those who aren't aware of what the unique features are, paste this chat here. I'm going to refresh that. So you can see here we have a tool now, and I believe this is over on our Discord. I'll put it in our Telegram chat right now. Oops, that's there we go. That's over in our Telegram chat as well. But this tool is and will forever be a sort of like tutorial or a wiki of sorts for the Sandbox. This is called Gitbook, where you go to sandboxgame.gitbook.io/the-sandbox. And you, and I'm going to put that in the chat, you can see essentially what we're all about. What lands are, what you can do. What sand is, what you can do. What assets are, what you can do. And then games. And we are going to have some tutorials for designing and publishing games. There is a few others of these as well that I'll be rolling out along with, of course, the team. And these that go into more detail on how to design games, what that's all about. So there's quite a few of these. But once we're all done with these resources, you should be able to go from having no idea what the Sandbox is to being able to finish a game just with text and image tutorials. So hopefully these are helpful resources for you that let you learn a little bit more about what we're doing here, and you can make a game to publish. So just last night, the Cyber Dragon had published or updated the tutorial that they had originally published on their Medium, so that you can get an update on teleportation systems. And that stemmed from the Saturday live stream that we did, where we talked about checkpoints, which is a slight manipulation of the teleportation tutorial that Cyber Dragon created. So you can see an updated version of that for 0.4, so you could potentially implement teleportation or like zoning differences in your game when you create for this game jam. So let's see if I can read some questions in the chat first, if I have anything. Okay, it says, so if I buy a plot of land and create a game, do players need to pay sand to play? They don't need to if you don't want them to. So when the metaverse goes live, many of them will be free, at least those which the Sandbox creates, those games, or the Sandbox partners, official artists, teams, etc. Those official teams will be creating experiences that work for seasonal play, where you can earn sand, you can earn NFTs in seasonal play, things like that. So with the purpose of, if they earn sand, then they could go to the community creators, and the community creators can have a lot of different options with that. You can either continue to make free games where you can be part of the seasonal content, or you can make freemium games where you have like the free service and maybe people can buy armor that's stronger with sand. You can also have options where people pay to play your game, right? A traditional way. Or you can promote that folks can buy your NFTs in your game. Maybe they get all the way to the end of the game, and then you have like a little, almost an ad space at the end of the game that says like, hey, pick up this NFT over at the shop. Find it by this name, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can use your land to generate sand, to generate a revenue. Some folks also just buy land to rent it to developers. But most of the people in this chat, I believe, are going to be developers. So I try to stay focused on that. Will this ever make it to consoles? Yes, I can say that. It's going to take some time. It's later on in the roadmap. We'll start with PC and Mac, and Linux is intended but not focused on. And then from there, it will go to mobile, because mobile is the largest market of users in the world by a huge margin. And then from there, move on to consoles. I would project, based on the way these consoles are made, that it's going to be easier for us to publish with ID at Xbox, because an Xbox is pretty much a PC at this point, than it is with a PS5. But nonetheless, it is intended to go to consoles later on in the roadmap. We have not posted the first link yet, so I could do that. Just 1 second. I am going to open the Game Maker right now. I'm going to get it ready. I'm going to switch things over to the Game Maker. And then let me turn up my volume a bit. I don't know if... I think I'm a bit quiet. There we go. Now I'm better in range. All right, let me log into that. And I'll change it over. All right, so I'll open up the gallery here. And then I'm going to get our first giveaway ready. And let me make a copy of this. And you can notice, if you haven't heard it before, this is our... Yes, let's copy that document. This is our new entry music, our default client music you can hear now. All right. And I'm going to check the settings, make sure I don't want to limit one response. I'm going to save that. Okay. I'm going to send link, copy that link, and we will open her up over here. I don't have explicit news on a Mac version. I know that with version 0.4, in order for the team to be able to take their Christmas vacation, which is the first one they've had all year, we had a delay on the Mac version. So I would expect early portion of the year for that to be ready. But I don't know exactly. I know that they focused on getting a Windows version out so that you all could have something ready for the game jam that we wanted to have here. But you know, this is it's definitely expected to come. All right, so we've got the first link. It says link is broken. Uh-oh. Let me click link. No longer accepting responses. Okay, I've opened it up. Go ahead and re-click that link again. Sorry about that. Yep. I linked it one more time for you. And as you all start filling out that link, I'm going to find a game that I have not played yet. And again, these games may not be complete. I expect that many of them won't be in the gallery, but I do just want to check them out. Going back as far as I can to something new. that I haven't played. So I'm going to try. I believe this was the newest one called The Hardest Game Fixed. And I don't know how hard the game actually is, but it's apparently the hardest. So we'll go ahead and open this up. Alright, and for the folks who don't know, again, that form that I linked in the chat is how you may potentially win 100 sand tokens. Sorry about that. I got a message on Telegram as I was speaking. So give me just 1 second as we go here. And if you, while I'm streaming here, if you would please ask me some questions. Ask me anything. Something about the sandbox maybe that you don't know, or maybe about the game maker. And then if you, anything that you need that could help you make more games, because the purpose of these streams is that you know, you can be ready for that game jam. So okay, there we go. I've got that question answered. Says a couple of minutes I was late here today because we're working on improving the structure of the back end of the website right now, and I had a specific request. So all right, we're back in it. Good to go. Spawning in. It says it's the hardest game. Is it the hardest game because you just immediately lava? Just immediate. Can I parkour? Some. All right, let's try the hardest game. Can I just fall right there? No, I thought it was going to be a like a meme, right? Thought it was. Do I have to hit the trophy? Nope. Getting an infinite walking sound. That's interesting. Alright, I was definitely not. Oh, here we go. Alright. Okay. I'm a failure. It's 99% impossible. This is the Dark Souls of jump puzzles right here. Collect all 3 trophies. This isn't actually all that bad. Okay, alright. Okay. Alright. Good luck. It's hard. Yeah, that's true. When will exporting from VoxEdit to GameMaker be available for custom builds? Okay, so here, let me go back a little bit. I'm definitely gonna address that question. I want to make sure that I get all the questions that I mentioned. It is really hard. Yes. Any plans to make a diorama template for artists? Yes and no. That seems like it's actually quite easy. But I suppose I could propose it. But I would think, and this is just me like brainstorming, that if you created a large object, that you probably wouldn't want to have it on a small pedestal. So unless we make it a bunch of large pedestals, then you'd have small objects on large pedestals. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely bring it up for sure. That seems easy enough. I'll try to leave it as a feedback in the artist group here in a second. Diorama. Okay, let's see here. Probably not the first time to hear the questions, but when will we see Final Fantasy NFTs? All right, so the partnership with Square, right? Square Enix is... okay. I'm dead immediately. This is 99% impossible. This is definitely the Dark Souls of jump puzzles. This is like you got to be a particular kind of person, you know. This is unforgiving, evil, just pure evil at this point. You can't even jump. I can't do it. I'm gonna go to the main menu real quick, answer some more questions as I go. So, I like the concept of that. If you wanted to play more on the 99% impossible, right? So when you look at the title, and it says the hardest game. That's a compelling title in that regard. But maybe 99% Impossible is even better, because you're going to pull in that Dark Souls liking kind of audience, that the type of person who's like, yes, I want to be the only one to ever complete it. The hardest game is pretty good, but it borderlines on the concept of game, because it's more of like a mechanics puzzle, in my opinion. So I would say 99% Impossible as a title or something like that, to really pull on the strings of people who must absolutely be completionists. And again, when I'm playing these, as I play them live, I try to play them like I'm 10 years old, with the concept that you're going to have some of that be your audience, you're going to have older folks be your audience, and then give as much of an objective opinion as I can. I think if it's possible to make the radius of the lava a little bit more precise, I would try to do that, just because it seems to hit when you fully landed on the stone. But again, that's just me being me. But that is, it appears to also be part of the difficulty, so it's like a weird balance. I think the ultra precise nature of it, though, is pretty cool. Where would an absolute beginner even start to build a game? Well, essentially, it's just right here, right? Open the templates, grab Lake Shores, and start playing with drop-down menus, or Behaviors 101. If you open Behaviors 101, it gives you, and I've done streams with this before, especially when the gallery didn't work last Wednesday, I did a live stream like that. So you open Behaviors 101 is essentially a tutorial where you can click on any object there, and not only do the signs in the game tell you what functions do, but when you're in the edit mode, you can also see how they are laid out on the drop-down menus. So if you click on something that says it's going to make a predator, and you want to understand why it's a predator, then you can click on that object and you can see how the drop-down menus are already done for you, rather than having to find them the first time. But a lot of people just play around. You can also, of course, find tutorials. As I mentioned before, I linked a Git book page earlier that has some entry stuff for the Sandbox that says, like, hey, what are we all about? There are some other pages as well that I can share, and I will share those in the Telegram. I believe, Big Worm, you are in our Telegram chat. Maybe you're not, but if you're not, then I would recommend that you join, and I'm going to link the Telegram chat as well. Here, just a second, because that chat is the easiest way to get answers from me at any time. So if you want to see answers to these kinds of questions, especially game design questions, you can ask them here, you can ask them on our Discord, you can ask them on Telegram, pretty much any time, and we can either give you the answer or refer you to someone that can give you the answer, no matter what time of day or night it is. There are support people in our community management from all around the world. So let's go back into this. All right, so let's see here. Is it possible that if the player dies to respawn them at a certain respawn point? Yes, it is, actually. So the in the Saturday tutorial, we talked about how you do that in the Game Maker. Actually, there is a function on your avatar, and let me pull it up. I'm going to pull up that tutorial right now, if I can. Here, tools page. That's not the one. Welcome, advanced tutorials. Make a two-way teleport system. I don't have it as a checkpoint, but there is an advanced tutorial that I want to pull up without having it on the editor section. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that, because I have the team's editor page up so that I can confirm edits to these pages. It's kind of like a wiki, but I need to make sure that the Game Maker Academy page is sent to you. So again, I will try to link these Get book pages so that you guys can learn how to make a teleportation system, among other tutorials, Game Maker basics, game logics, what they are, what the tools are, how a quest system works, inventory, gallery, behaviors, components, etc. Right? And game design tips therein. What we did last Saturday on this stream, if you go back and watch it, is played around with the concept of the two-way teleport system, but modified it so that when you walked within a certain distance of an object, it set a respawn point checkpoint. So it changed where the original respawn point was to a new place based on that. So that, I think, is a core, for me, felt like a core concept of any role-playing game. And so that was something that I wanted people to see is definitely possible in the Game Maker as one of your, it's not like, I guess, a default option, but it's relatively simple to make happen. And Alex proved in that Saturday stream that you actually don't have to make a bunch of individual checkpoints. You could leave it as an open-ended checkpoint as well by placing multiple respawn points around the world and not... the way to make them proper checkpoints that force you to always stay in the forward is to make it so that the checkpoints get destroyed as you reach the next one, but you can make it so that they don't get destroyed as you reach the next one, and then whichever one you're closest to, you'll automatically respawn on. So it's a super cool tool for that. And as we go here, I'm going to go back to the gallery and try to find another game that's not the hardest game. Ha 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 ha. Let's see. Let's open up Weird Zombie Game. Looks like it's got a little rating, so it may be simple enough. Probably not very complex, just based on the image that I'm seeing there. Okay, it says, when do you foresee the end of gas fees for sand usage, i.e. sand for land or sand for assets when in the Sandbox game? BDJC, you will probably see the end of gas fees in a way. Not completely, I don't imagine, but mostly in two situations. One of those being when the marketplace goes live and you only use the Sandbox marketplace. Because if you're using the Sandbox marketplace, and I can't confirm this, but I believe this is how it works based on some articles that we've published and those sorts of things, that you, in the Sandbox marketplace, you are trading kind of like on Binance.com. The first time you put your sand in and your land into the marketplace and your NFTs into the marketplace, there's a transaction fee for the ETH chain move. But then all of your things get associated with your account inside the PixOwl wallet, which is the Sandbox wallet. So that once everything is inside the wallet, just like it would be inside Binance's wallet when you send your funds to Binance.com, then you can transfer it between users and it transfers between accounts without actually transferring on-chain. So it's a bit, basically, in order to 100% avoid gas fees, you would have to take it off-chain, which, you know, there are some negative parts to that in a way because it's centralized, but at the same time, we have no ownership over it per se, and you can pull it out at any time. So you avoid the gas fees by putting it in a marketplace. But again, this is true with any marketplace, whether it was something big like Coinbase, or you put it in Binance, or you put it into Huobi. They all do that because they are a marketplace. Then the second thing is if you stayed on-chain, ETH 2.0 has $1 billion worth of Ethereum in the network right now, right? So that, okay, this looks like a really basic game. So let's blow up some zombies. So these zombies appear to have the new Zombo AI. They seem like they're coming at me from all angles, which is pretty cool. And it's not just for zombies. This AI is new in general. If you just wanted like a hack and slasher where everything's just falling over, this is the one. Also, I'm liking this. I don't know if you noticed this, but for Game Maker 0.4, it's, man, infinite zombies. Okay, let's see here. It kind of makes you like auto move toward the nearest enemy, right? If I just click like crazy, it's taken me generally forward, but also at an enemy. And if there was no enemy directly in front of me, it is pushing me in that direction. So these zombies are mostly just fodder. A few of them have finally hit me. It took a very long time of being dead center on these zombies. This is pretty cool, honestly, even though this isn't even, I wouldn't qualify this as a game. It just feels cool, you know? Just like easily destructible zombies, infinite horde of them. You know, this is the life for somebody who's like 10, 5. You know, just clicking, feeling good, zombies are going down. This is the one. If, you know, this could be a tutorial kind of a thing for like a proper, much more difficult zombies to fight. Okay, let's see here. And the zombies just both directions. So, can I heal? I don't know. Okay, oh, wait, are you chasing me still? Are you really? Really, zombies? This is the way it's gonna be, huh? Seems like they're respawning and they were already hungry. Oh, I can't believe you've done this. Okay. Alright. Here we go. So that was cool. I actually like the concept of knowing that your character is strong enough to basically one-shot these guys. Very unlikely that they're going to hit, but there were such numbers that you did eventually take damage. That could be useful if you had like maybe a slow creep of power, or maybe a reverse power creep. I think this would be a good element to a game. So when I say reverse power creep, I mean like the first thing you fight does require that you have some skill. The second thing you fight is maybe 2 of those things that require you have some skill. Then the third thing you fight is slightly weakened versions of it, but there's 5 or 10, and you feel the intensity of the moment because like, whoa, you just fought one of them and it was hard. 2 of them felt impossible. And then, you know, you get like 10, but they all have a little bit less hit points or something. And then this unlimited horde of them, as it were, it can make you feel like you're stronger or better at the game, or your character is increasing in strength. This, you know, that kind of concept may appeal to the level up sense that's in the Game Maker, and you can take that away from something very simple like this here. So as we go, again, I'm gonna pop up the old giveaways here. I'm gonna duplicate this one so I can get another one going. But as I do that, just remember that we will do the drawing for each one of these at the end of the show. So as I go, let me edit this real quick so I can send it out to you. And I want to make sure that responses are enabled. It's all good to go. I'm going to send. I'm going to copy a link for you, and then I'll answer a few more questions in the chat. All right, so there's a new link in the chat right now, and you would be eligible to win 100 sand if you fill out this form here. All right, and I'm going to go back here to the chat, and we'll see what's going on. That's in this quarter. Sandbox Game Marketplace. Yeah, essentially let me look. I think the roadmap on that said that it was coming in Q1. It might have said Q4, but we got pushed a little bit to get a more complete Game Maker experience, because if you haven't noticed, with Game Maker version 0.4, it's almost a complete redesign of the Game Maker, bottom to top. We have been converting systems that were on proprietary code over to Unity code, plus making it more drag and drop friendly, a lot easier to use the Game Maker now, I think, than it has been ever. And it's just cleaner, more natively understandable, I think. just a whole lot more user-friendly. So that complete revamp pushed things back a little bit, but I think it was worth doing to make sure that we have higher quality games that get out when the metaverse launches from the community, because the better quality those games are, the better the health of the whole Sandbox ecosystem really in the long run. So let's see here. I've asked this question in Telegram. I check frequently asked questions. Okay. What button you click to pick stuff up? Oh, sure. F. I believe it's F. To just pick something up. It's the action key, as far as I could recall. A lot of games use E, but there should be a... Let me see if I can go... I'm going to go into the Spooky Night in the Village. I'm not going to complete it or anything. I'm not sure if there are objects on the ground that can be picked up there, but there should be like a key that tells you what buttons you use to play the game. Okay, it says, what will happen to users who have MetaMask? Are we going to be able to use the marketplace, or do you need your Sandbox wallet? Okay, Yashik, MetaMask is your Sandbox wallet. So at this time, your wallet is integrated with the website as a Web3 element, right? What that means is that when you log in, you're logging in with your wallet, but your wallet is still your wallet. This confuses a lot of folks who don't understand crypto in the opposite direction, right? Where they will say, okay, it's the Sandbox wallet, but it's not. It's actually always been yours. So that's still going to be the case. The only difference is that when you put something up for trade inside the marketplace, if you don't pull it from the marketplace after you acquire it, then you may be able to avoid gas fees. So this is in part speculative on my part. I just want to be really clear about that because this is from my understanding as it is written, but not necessarily from the actuality of the coder's end. So some people may call this layer 2, interoperability, companies that we have partnerships with like Matic and others. It's all still kind of being explored. But I know that in terms of asset, there's a lot of functions that are already ready, right? Like you've seen us mint assets here. That's a function of the marketplace. You've seen us, you may or may not have seen that some assets were listed, that like Alex tested it during the last pre-sale, where he listed a Smurf that he had purchased actually from the same pre-sale, and he was like, oh, this function is ready and online, but not ready for all users. It was only ready for administrative access users. And so he accidentally, in a way, listed his Smurfs NFT, and somebody scooped it up instantly because they saw that it was available for purchase in the marketplace. And then he was like, darn it, I didn't actually want to sell it. I just wanted to test it. But, so those functions in the marketplace are there, but those happened on chain at this time. They did not happen off chain. So in this example, Alex is listing, he wanted to list the Smurf for 2,500 sand, I believe, and it sold at 2,750 sand was what it was listed for a user to buy it, with the remaining sand fee getting recycled into the foundation fund, which is what we do with the remaining sand fee. So that's the process as it is now, but that's not necessarily the process as it goes forward. So again, I've just kind of take it all with a grain of salt, giving you the most information I can to answer your questions as well as I can, but that can change absolutely in the future. So let's see, I'm using an iPad Pro 2018. I really like to be able to at least start practicing building stuff until I can afford a PC. You know what sort of PC I need, like the name of one. Okay, sure. I would recommend that you get something with... Don't think about brands per se, because brands can catch you out sometimes. Purple Lioness, you can have some bad luck with brands, because if I recommended a name brand right now, you don't necessarily get the parts inside that you need, and that is important. So write it down. I would recommend something with an i7 or Ryzen 5. That is the brain of your computer, or go higher than that. Also, it must have what is known as a discrete graphics card, which is a graphics card that's not inside the processor of the computer. So writing that down, generally speaking, if you buy something that has a Ryzen 5 or better or an i7 or better, it's going to have a decent graphics card. My budget for a computer that can do everything really smooth, I would say you'd want to have at least $700 or more PC. But I am a super nerd. Again, take that with a grain of salt because I'm the type of person who has literally spent $4,000 on their computers. So, it's I'm not necessarily the best person to ask about that. Okay, I'm going to get into this game. Lag from the game or the stream? You know what? That's a good question. Let me see. Because people were talking about lag and I was not looking at the seems like I don't know. It's looking okay. The FPS is a little bit low for my liking, but let's see here. It's probably the game because there's so many zombies. Yeah. Can't wait for this to be on PlayStation. Okay, cool. Do you know how to pick stuff up in the play mode when you're in the game? Yeah, as I said before, I believe that's the F key to interact, but you can see over here the controls. These are the basic controls for that. Oops, keep playing. Okay, it is a little bit laggy on this game as well. So this can happen sometimes when you drop in those assets, but I think honestly it may also be me because despite my PC being what it is, I haven't restarted it in about 2 months. So you never know what's going on in the background here. And typically, until I upgrade to get my second PC upgraded again, which is a ridiculous statement, I can't take my 2K output into my second PC. I was doing it before with the 1080p output, which allowed me to be like ultra clear on the stream. So this guy has something to say. Let's see how I can I interact with them? Oh, maybe they just say it. Maybe they just say it. Something is happening outside. Interesting. Okay. What's going on outside? Oh, okay. It appears that the E is the interact button. Let's see. I need a sacrifice, and your mother has been chosen. You will pay for this. It's a quest update and quite a bit of choppiness on that. So yeah, this is probably on me. I'm seeing some frames skipped on my end, so I may have to restart all of my systems. I'm going to go ahead and, but I can't do that right now, right? Like, that's ridiculous. So, let me make another copy of my form because we're getting close to being able to do form number 3 for you all. And I'll read some more chat questions. And again, the purpose of this stream here, just so you all know, if you're just tuning in, is to help you work through games in the Sandbox Game Maker. So I am playtesting a game live, and then I'm giving feedback on that. Some of that feedback is usually FPS drops here. I don't know if there's some... Let me see, keep playing. Inventory system. I don't know if you all have seen this, but there is an inventory system now with quest items, with equipment items. So that is a part of the Game Maker version 0.4. If you had equipment items that you found in the marketplace, you should be able to have them applied to characters, including a helmet, chest piece, main hand and offhand weapon, gloves, boots, right? So there's some new stuff going on. Go place somewhere else. Step back. Okay, invisible wall. So that means that there probably is a quest here. There's a hidden path under this house. Don't tell anyone. Okay. I'll try not to. Wait. Hidden though. But hidden though. I could generate... okay. So I'm going to guess that this game was probably developed in not 0.4. Because this object, the table, is a usable object. And again, you press E to use the object. But when I use it, the trigger is wrong right now. And the default trigger for any object spawner is to spawn these deer. So I can kill the deer, I think, as they're usually killable as prey. But this object is supposed to, I believe, allow me to go underground. So if this is the kind of game, I think this was like the spooky game jam, and it had been updated to 0.3, or maybe expanded upon. But now I can't go underground, which means that I'm essentially stuck at this portion of the level for this level, because that, I believe, was supposed to be the trigger that opened up some kind of door or pathway. Maybe it was a void spawner, something like that. Let's see if Uncle Boris has another secret. Step back, citizen. Well, I can't. I could. I totally could. But also I could just beat him up. So I'm thinking that that's what's going on with this level, and I'd like to play more, but again, updating it to 0.4 is going to create some of those small glitches as UI or elements are expanded or changed. You'll want to review your games. Make sure that if you are a developer right now and you've upgraded to that 0.4 client, that you are checking, play through your game, test it to be sure that that's everything that you expected it to be. And as I say that, I am going to link the last of 3 for today forms for our giveaway on Sand. Yeah, it ended up, like I say, it's as this is an alpha version of a Game Maker client, as 0 point something implies that new features are still being added. Things are being adjusted, and so as those new features get added, there's a tendency for that to kind of break or change the way that your game elements function as it goes. So it's always good to review your game, make those little tweaks and changes again as new features are added. And then usually, you know, while you're in there and you're playing around and you're looking at some stuff, maybe you find something new you want to add to that game, make it a little bit more complete as we get going here. So let's see what some of those other questions are as I go. I'm going to roll it on up here. Yeah, when I was fighting people, it was dropping frames, so that makes sense because not only was I fighting them, but also I was spawning the asset in, which again causes you to get a little more taxation on the system, whether that be the and I'll bet you that my frames per second are probably better on the stream right now that all the assets loaded into the game in the Game Maker. So that's something to consider as well when you make a game. It still feels a little bit choppy, but I'll bet you, like, when I'm running around, if I was to guess, there's probably enemies under the ground right here. And those enemies may be, as I'm running around, they may have an attack radius that's big enough that they could see me from under the ground. So we ran into this with a previous test that I did, where I, in another game, made by, I think it was Clankersh, I jumped up onto a flying carpet, and the flying carpet was in perfect attack radius with this Minotaur that was like way on the ground, way down there, right? But like the radius of the Minotaur's attack allowed the Minotaur to see me even while I was on the flying carpet. So when I got up on the flying carpet, the Minotaur went attack, don't attack, attack, don't attack, and it was a perfect distance. And that perfect distance caused all the Minotaur to, constantly want to and not want to attack, which ended up putting a lot of extra strain on the system for really no reason. And so they modified the game slightly to reduce the bubble of attack by like like a quarter of a block or something like that. So it didn't actually reach that flying carpet. And so then from then on, when you jumped on the flying carpet, you didn't have that lag. And so, being as I don't think this is spawning new assets, I think what's happening that's causing this little frames per second lag is that hidden door there probably takes you to an underside level that has some kind of interactable objects that can do so in proximity, or some enemies maybe like skeletons or something right underground that actually have an attack radius that can see through the block into the overworld. So you can avoid this in a couple of different ways. One way is to make a teleporter. With that tutorial that I linked earlier, the teleporter can get you moving from one zone to another, where you can make like a whole nother plane on your land, because it's got 128 meters of vertical space to work with. You can make a whole nother plane of existence, so that you teleport down into that when you go into like your secret path, and then teleport back up when you come out. So there's a lot of different options there to do. Let's see here. So the assets that you're seeing here in the game right now are available for free from the marketplace, where you can add them to your account. Over time, these artists may not have them available as free, but while we're doing our game jams, these assets are made free. And all the assets that you're seeing here are made by official artists that are either working for the team directly or contracted to the team, going from fund.sandbox.game, where they applied to be an artist and they get paid regularly to create these arts. So let's see here. Game design. I want to look at this one more time. Oh, yeah. So, Andre, if you want to add them into your game, I'm going to show you how to do that just really quickly here. Now that I'm looking at the 100 million tabs that I have, I think I know why I am lagging a little. Okay, so really quickly, I'm going to change back because this question has come up a couple of different times here. And I do have some skip frames detected over the last 2 minutes, a few seconds ago. So I'm sorry about that. I probably need to restart my everything in order to clear this up. That's less to do with the game maker and probably more to do with my PC, again, that I haven't restarted in a few months. So let's see here, change it over so you can see the browser window. Okay, so you were asking about how do you get the assets. So if you go on to sandbox.game and you are signed in with your account, which you can see because it'll show the sand that you have in your account in the top right. Currently it says I have 0 because I'm staking all of my sand using staking.sandbox.game and an equal amount of Ethereum. But you can see on your account, if you click shop, if an object has no cost and it's in the marketplace right now for you to add into your game maker, you can just click the plus. And it said it has been successfully added to your inventory. Any of these objects, cloning station, sacred pope, just go along and click them. The number that you see on the left would be if the object was minted on the chain and had a cost. When you click the plus, this number would go down because you would pay for it in sand. It wouldn't just have a plus. It would say like whatever it's going to be, 1,000 sand, 2,000, 100. It's up to you as a asset creator. If it has a price, then you're taking away from a minted asset quantity. Excuse me. And so only 850 games could ever have a cloning station in the entire metaverse with its 166,000 available lands. Only 850 games could have it. Same thing with the Sacred Pope, etc., etc. Right? But for now, they're all free to use. So you could just click plus on any of these, go all the way through the pages. The Wombat, Voxel Blaze, right here, right, all of it. The Starry Night art, that's pretty cool. So you can add these assets in, and then when you get back into your Game Maker, because you sign in with your Game Maker with the email that's associated with your account, it will say, okay, Reed's website finds these assets are in your things. Then you go back in the Game Maker, you go back to creating, and you will have it there. So let me go down here in the chat. Wow, this has been a really fast hour. For the interest of confidentiality, I'm going to change it back to game capture windows so that I'm not showing off anybody's email addresses or wallet addresses, etc., as I'm going to start to use a random number generator to roll for those entries now. And we're going to do the sand giveaway. Let's see here. Yeah, Crypto Reaper. Sorry, I believe it's E. It says try to pick something up with F and it did not work. They changed those buttons quite a while ago, but it's been a while since I had physically walked up to a thing. It used to tell you when you walked up to it, I believe, what that button was, but E allows me to chat with people. So that's probably just your default interact button. It also opens up doors. Yes. Okay, so that's good. You know about the marketplace. Tried to pick up something with, okay. How do I calculate my current stake value? Yeah, the current stake value can be calculated by so you have a number of Uniswap liquidity provider tokens, right? Let me simplify this. The last time I did the math on my current stake, without lands, when I tested it with not owning any lands in that wallet, I was getting roughly a 30% annual percentage yield on my investment, if I was considering the math with US dollar. So that was calculated about a month ago. So you never know. That could be up or down from there at this point. I don't know exactly, but it was certainly good enough that I would, and I am, with my own money, doing the staking program. Sand is a relatively stable asset, so it's not like, it's just falling from the sky. It was super cool. I'm having a great time with it. And in the last pre-sale, I think I got a whole small estate, roughly, from the earnings that I had made from my stake in sand. When I first started it and I wasn't doing very much sand in the stake, I got one or two more lands for free, essentially free, right? Like there was the gas fee to do it. So I think it's worthwhile, but the gas fees that you may incur in order to get all of your things staked, you want to do your own research on that. When the best time is, what the best rates are. If it's worth it to you, it's up to you. So, but I do love doing it myself. Let's see here. Let's see. Thanks. I appreciate it. Somebody said they like me. You're so nice. Look at you. Okay, so I'm going to open up, I'm just going to type RNG, and Google's going to give me a wonderful random number generator. I'm going to roll for the first, and I'm going to close responses on these now that we have as many responses as, and I'm happy to see this. We had roughly the same number of people stick with us the whole stream, so thank you so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and do an RNG for up to 124 people for the first. I'm going to click generate and user 99 for the first entry. 99 was PS. Oh, watching on Periscope. Okay. Well, Davis R. Roy, if you are still watching on Periscope, thank you for joining me on Periscope. You have won 100 sand, and you are now eligible to win a Wizzy NFT. I have your Ethereum wallet address here. But I would love to hear from you on Periscope if you're still there. Congratulations. And I've got the second entry group. And the second entry group had 122 responses. Just 2 less than the previous. And user number 71 to submit had got that. So I'll do that. And this is Last to Burp on Twitch. Last to Burp. You have won 100 sand today and eligibility to win the Wizzy NFT. And then the last form had 121 responses on that. And I'll generate that. Number 96 is the one on this one. So a lot of high rolls today. I got some pretty good luck. And this user won last week as well. What are the odds of that? Same email, just verifying. You know, you can't win with a duplicate email, but you can definitely win 100 sand. Now, I'm going to double check really quick before I do the draw for the Wizzy NFT, because I mentioned that you can only ever win Wizzy NFT once. But the third user here, Ben Zopilin, has won, and I'm intentionally misspeaking there because this is for all audiences. You have won 100 sand, but I've got to make sure that you have not in the past won the Wizzy NFT because and you totally did. Last week you won the Wizzy NFT. So what that means is that I'm going to give you the 100 sand. I'm really glad that you're still here, hanging out, having fun with us, learning some new things, doing more. But you can only be eligible to win the Wizzy NFT once. It's that exclusive. So that means that this week, between user Last2Burp and Davis R. Roy, between Periscope and Twitch, I'm going to do an RNG of 1 and 2 and generate. And user number 2, being Last2Burp, will win the Wizzy NFT this week. So I'm going to send that over. Alex distributes that Wizzy NFT. I'm going to make sure that they get that right now. There it is. Okay. So let me check the chat one more time because I don't want to miss anybody. There were a lot of airdrop usernames, but I didn't see any as winners today. So this is not the first time you hear this question. Teamwork, dreamwork stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy, right? Because it's super unlikely. Like I'll show you. I'll show you how I do this, just so that you all see it really quick on the stream. Turn back on the browser window, turn this off, right? All I did was I went over to Google, I typed RNG. I knew there was 122 people that could possibly win, and I hit generate. I go number 53, right? Then you go back to the form, and there's a thing on there. The reason why I ask for emails is because if you put in a duplicate email, and it's in parenthesis, I'll see it, and you're not eligible, right? You can only have it on your parenthesis 1 email. Or like no parenthesis email, rather, shows me that you've only submitted once for that email. But excuse me, then you just plug in this number and it'll automatically jump me to that user. So Ben Zopilin, super lucky. Like, what are the odds of that? Just really quick. Like, there was about 100 people in the last stream, so it's roughly 1 out of 12,000 plus chance that would have happened. Well done. Don't do the lottery or something like that, because your luck is gone. You know what I mean? So good. Congratulations. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see what I got. I don't really use Discord. I have it, and I'm in the Sandbox. I use Twitter more. Okay, Andy, hey, look, if you've got questions that maybe I can answer for you on Twitter, I know you hit me up earlier this morning to see if there was a stream going on today, and try to get back to those as often as possible. I pretty much leave a Twitter tab open all day long on one of the 2 computers that I have here, so super cool. let's see here. When will everyone be able to upload VoxEdit assets to their game and not just artists? Clankish, the marketplace will have to be live for that to be possible. We have a rollout program that is expected to go for that. I imagine, if I was to guess, that highly interactive folks like yourself will be a higher priority to get in. I believe that I can't talk about everything that I know, so I'm trying to remember what I can't say. I think that's all I can say. But there are plans. It is a relatively short time frame. I would say lock it in for sure for Q1 of 2021. But, you know, I don't know how soon in that period it's going to be. So we have meetings all the time. Our last meeting was on like the 26th, I think, right after our live stream. I jumped straight into a meeting or it was last Wednesday, actually. I jumped straight into that meeting where we basically said, hey, congratulations, everyone, you get to go on vacation. And the only people who don't go on vacation proper are myself and the other community managers, just purely because we want to make sure that when you have questions, they get answered. So let's see here. Got BTC. Yeah, Bitcoin is blowing up, right? Congratulations to them. Let's see here. How do I go on other people's land? Okay, so currently the game client is not launched, but the game client is in internal test as we get ready to launch the metaverse. So we are ever so close to being done and ready for that. And when that happens, then you'll start to be able to go into the land squares that you see on the map at sandbox.game. So it'll be a rollout process with those lands, with the games and the transition, so we can start to teach you how to move it from the game maker to the gallery to the game client in the metaverse properly. That's going to happen over time. But soon is the best answer that I have, because I know that I can load the game client right now. I can't show the game client to you. So we've got a lot going on and are definitely actively working on it. Could you recap the new features of GameMaker version 0.4? Sure. Let's see if I can do that here. Here's the patch notes right here on the screen. And you're seeing some of the edit functions for our Git book, but I'm not showing you the address bar, so it's all good to go. As of 12/23/20, you can now customize the avatar's behavior, components, camera, and model by going into the new Global Parameters button. You can get access to this menu by clicking on the Avatar Settings button in the inspector while selecting the avatar's portal. So, what this means is that in the menu, you can select the avatar's type and add tags to the avatar, which is important to do this if you're looking. One of the most requested features, right, was like changing the respawn points. So you would need to add tags to your avatar in order to be able to have your respawn point move if you wanted to make checkpoints in the game, things like that. So again, last Saturday's stream, we showcased kind of how that works in 0.4. Camera. As part of 0.4, this feature has been requested. You can now implement a first-person view camera or other cameras for your avatar. So check that out in the camera settings. Controller. In this menu, you can change the avatar's behavior values and add or remove components. And then lighting. Change between different lighting atmospheres for the avatar. So the lighting situation in the overworld is changed in that feature. Global Game Maker improvements. I want to see here. If you have an NFT in multiple lands, can you use it on all of them? A minted NFT cannot be used on all of your lands unless they are one game experience, and that's what Clankersh mentioned, that the land should be connected by their sides. So if you have two lands that touch side by side, you can, with the Game Maker, make a 2x1 game experience, and then you can use that one NFT that was minted, like if you paid for it or if you minted it on chain. But if you are an artist, a creator, and you made the first ever asset before it was minted, then you could use that asset in your games as much as you like. So just keep in mind, with the only caveat to that is don't try to potentially exploit the system. Like, don't try to make a fake Smurf or something to go in your land, because as part of the bounty system, when the marketplace does go live, and again, you'd have to be an artist to be able to use them anyway at this point, but when the marketplace goes live and you're able to publish your own assets and use them in the game, if there's a game that has a Smurf that you made on your own, but there's a minted Smurf, then your game could potentially be reported for copyright claim, where the copyright is for the original creator of the Smurf, and then Smurfs, being their own individually copyright protected IP, separately kind of reported in different ways. So anyway, users that see these copyright protected elements or these stolen elements, if you just stole someone else's design, can report that, and then the game could be taken off or taken down temporarily until you fix this, and the user who reported it gets a small sand reward for making that correct report. So just keep that in mind, that you don't necessarily want to use it to subvert the system, but if you were the original artist, most importantly here, if you're the original artist of an asset, you could use that asset as many times as you want and as many worlds as you want, because you would have the unminted raw real asset, which is the ability to use it in your game experiences anytime. Global game maker improvements include terraforming tool that's now easier to use. The way you place assets in the experience has been improved to allow you to easily add and manage assets. There's a new library function, which that's probably going to be quite obvious to you. You'll see that giant menu on the bottom, selection menu, a new message system, a rules window, quest system version 2.0, which is allowing you to fully customize quests. New options have been added to allow more customization in quests that have been done before. Then the timer objective has been improved as well. Indicator components, so life bar color parameter, has been removed to provide a more consistent experience. Objective cursor parameter has been removed. The quest cursors are now split in 3 parameters: a giver, an objective, and a receiver. Then we've added presets, tag changes, publishing changes, behaviors and component changes, new balancing and grades. The balancing has been reworked to provide a better difficulty. Each object has now its difficulty mainly driven by its catalyst and also its gems. So this is important that you kind of understand that, as well as you know gems as designers, the gems that you use inside that help define rarity also in a way can help define power in different ways. Of course, there's like speed, life force, magical power, traditional like melee style power, etc. So the slider has been rebalanced to slightly more heavily affected in with regard to gems, because you will be minting with those gems on your higher rarity assets, so you don't want your high rarity assets necessarily to get squashed by common assets if you made them conflict with each other in a in-game fight. So each object has a grade displayed next to its life bar. Okay, the grade represents the catalyst of the object and the amount of gems inside it. So that's actually a really cool UI. When you see that life bar, you'll see a little symbol on the side that tells you, just at a glance, you would know what that rarity or difficulty of the monster or object is. New melee enemy. The enemy fighter behavior has been automatically replaced with melee enemy behavior. Behavior follows the same intentions, but has been improved to make fights more enjoyable. So you probably saw that when you saw the zombies come after me. It also helped that the NPC now kind of lunges at them. Targeting system has been added to make your attacks move towards the enemies. I don't know if I just edited that. I'm going to have to fix this. There's a grammatical error, so I'll fix that here in a minute. Fixed. Save. Removing a previous frustrating experience. Right. Quest items. Quest can be started. Gold exclamation mark. Gold target icon. Can be finished. Gold question mark. Inventory and equipment. Slight changes. Known issues. Those aren't really updated in this. So a lot of things going on. Can we breed avatars? So the Binance Cyborg is not an avatar. It is its own asset. I'm going to merge this down, merge that edit so that pushes live to you guys on the public. People will notice. Let's see here. Gotta go now. All right, Clankers, I'll see you later. Can we breed avatars? You cannot breed avatars. Again, sorry, I got lost track of my brain there. Avatars are your characters that will universally go from world to world. Assets, unless you design a game with the specific intent to appear to breed assets, that would not be a function. Like if you tried to make a Monster Rancher kind of a game, I think that's how that game works, just off the top of my head. You would not be able to do that unless you specifically as an artist designed the one asset, the other asset, and the potential spawn asset when they go near each other. But you could absolutely make something like that, and I bet you it'd be hugely popular. Let's see here. Will it be a private marketplace? You can add your created assets but not sell them on the global marketplace. Yeah, absolutely. So right now, if you made an NFT and you minted it, then your minted asset goes to another user only when you allow it. So you don't have to list it on the marketplace. If you don't mint it, you should still have the asset in your account to be able to be used, because you export it to the marketplace, but you don't necessarily mint it on the marketplace, and that's an important distinction. So you'll notice right now in VoxEdit there is a drop-down menu that says Export Asset to Marketplace. But because that feature is only available to administrators at this time, so that we can test the minting process, when you export the asset to the marketplace, and slightly for quality assurance purposes, when you export the asset to the marketplace, it goes into a queue that says ready to mint, meaning that it's in your account ready to be used in the game maker, but not necessarily minted so that you could sell it or give it to other people. If you did mint it, then again, you don't necessarily list it. It's just minted. So some important distinctions there. So let me see if I can't answer some more. Okay, so Crypto Reaper, you can go on others' games just the same way as I have here. Let me change back to the game capture so you can see this. Go back to main. Right now, the games are not on the map. They're in the gallery. So you download the Sandbox Game Maker, and you can check out people's games in the gallery experience. So there are 15 pages worth of games right now. Most of these games are incomplete. Excuse me, sorry. Incomplete experiences, but you can definitely look at them, get inspiration from them, play them. All of those games that have the words Game Jam in front of them have been submitted, TSB Game Jam. They were submitted for a contest to create games in previous Game Jam contests, which are going on. There's one going on right now. So if you want to know how to make those games, then that's where you check that. Okay, so let's see here. Thanks, Andy. Normally I don't go that much longer on this, but I do like to do kind of a Q&A at the end of these streams lately, just because the whole point of the streams is to help you be able to make these better games. So or make games in general. You know, the game jam that we have going on now has a $10,000 approximate value prize, right? 200,000 sand tokens. So if you're, and of course, you know, that's just for first place. Second place is getting 50,000 sand. Third place is 25,000 sand. Fourth through 10th is getting 5,000 sand, right? So that's great. That's a ton of sand. That's enough to get a bunch of lands in the sale events. So to be able to make and publish more games. And then there's a bonus prize. The favorite voted by the public is going to win 50,000 sand as well. So pretty cool. Just great. Let's see. If we create an asset like an epic, can we choose the amount of NFTs, or is this fixed to 800? Yeah. So you can choose the amount of NFTs in a way. What you do is you can't choose the amount that's originally minted, but you can choose to do something called burning the assets, right? So burning the assets, and I'm going to turn down the desktop or the game maker sound for you guys just so that you can possibly not miss the words that I'm saying here. But so let's say that you wanted it to be epic quality, but you wanted it to be legendary rarity. You could mint 800 of them, burn 600 of them so that they literally go away forever, and then there's only 200 left, but they're only epic power. So if that's what you're interested in, absolutely you can do that. But it's just one extra step, basically. And we did that with the Santa Wizzy NFT that we gave away from a live stream a couple of weeks ago. We did it as a surprise here, right? We minted something like 1,500 of them or whatever it was to make sure that we had enough to give away, depending on how big the stream was going to be. And then after the stream ended, and we knew exactly how many Santas we were going to distribute from the people who submitted in that, we burned everything else. I kept 10 of them to do for a charity giveaway auction next year. I think the Sandbox official has 10 of them to do for charity events next year, from what I recall. And then all the rest of them were distributed. So that's all there are. And we did that for increased rarity purposes. So you could do the same thing. Even if you did it with a legendary, right? Like let's say you made a legendary asset, but you could make 200 because that's the default, and then burn 199 of them. So you only actually have one. And then you could put that up for auction as the only one that will ever exist. And because you've minted it, it has that kind of copyright protection so that no other creations of it could ever be made. So if somebody sees a duplicate on that, then they could report that and make sure that you have your uniqueness forever. So it's pretty cool. Glow Bikers, can I give you quick info on the Game Jam? Absolutely, yes. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Here it is. So you can see here, this is in a Medium article, which I'm going to put in the chat so that you don't, or you can read the whole thing. This article here, we announced this officially on December 23rd. This is going to continue. The Game Jam submissions will close on January 23rd. Every Wednesday. Between now and then, I'm going to open up the gallery and hopefully be able to play your games, because I can give you feedback that can increase your eligibility to win the Game Jam. And that's the whole purpose of these Wednesday streams. On the Saturday streams, we try to teach you something new every Saturday, or review a tutorial of some kind that we found created by the community, so that you can learn something new about how the game client works for creating games, and then take that and apply it into your games. So the winner of the Game Jam, last Game Jam, essentially won because they invented teleportation with our tools. And it just opened up the way that the game felt like it was played. You could take something that was designed as a tiny house and then put a teleportation block in front of it. The user clicks the button. They teleport to another layer of the entire game world that was a whole complete, very large house, where it didn't change the aesthetic of the game to do that. And so it was a super cool feature that really changed the concept of designing games in the Game Maker for what we had seen so far. And so that user in that Game Jam won, I think it was $2,500 worth of sand tokens and a land NFT. So again, this is we only announced this on the 23rd. Officially, the submissions will open on January 6th. So if you have a game that's completed before then, hold on to it. The theme is called Level Up. That's interpretive to you. And the only rules specifically is that you use the Game Maker version 0.4 and that you use 3 new features implemented in 0.4. So again, first place wins 200,000 sand and a 1x1 land to publish a game that you create in that land. Ideally and not required is that you create this game as a 1x1 asset, because you know that when you're done with it, you'll be able to immediately publish it in the metaverse. When the metaverse opens up, you'll have the game done, saved, and ready to go. You wouldn't have to recreate it necessarily, and you could always advertise that you were featured as the winner of Game Jam number 3 or something like that to get more people to go in and play in your land. So you can also work as a team if you're interested in doing that. And if you do work as a team, you'll want to go to our Discord channel where you can learn how to send files back and forth to each other. That's an imperative piece because you can't both work on different functions at the exact same time. There's not like a kind of cloud labor sort of thing. So you have to you do your part and then send it to them and they work on it for a few hours and send it back to you, that sort of thing when you're working as a team. But absolutely you can do that working as a team. So judging and voting based off of the 3 new features and the theme, judging and voting happens by members of the Sandbox team officially. So employees of the Sandbox will review these games, play them. I am one of those people who does review and play them and rank them. So when I give you the feedback, I give it to you based on how I genuinely do rank and review these games. That leads to you winning. So should be helpful. How many entrants in the last Game Jam? So I'll tell you, the first Game Jam had about 15 entrants, maybe 17, and the last one had 11. Because the last Game Jam had only 11, and there were 10 eligible winners, we expected it to be higher than the previous Game Jam, but that kind of incentivized us to pump up the volume on the prizes a little bit, because we want to get indie game devs to come in. I mean, frankly, $10,000 is enough to make an independent game developer hopefully stop what they're doing and want to build games in the Sandbox. That's the goal for us here, is to not only cultivate the community that we have, but bring in people who are already game designers into the fold to start making games in the Sandbox. So yeah, we had 11 in the last submission. So what we did with that, because it was a little bit, well, it was quite a bit less of a reward. We were giving approximately $100 worth of sand away, and we did not give a land to 4th through 10th place. In that Game Jam, we gave the 11th person $100 worth of sand as well, right? So we're all very community focused here. We pumped up the volume on how much we are going to be giving away in this so that we can garner more attention for it. We want to see people not only who watch these streams, but who, like, my latest tweet on this had something like 10,000 engagements when I said, hey, you want to win $10,000? Let's go, right? So I think that this is going to have quite a bit more submissions, but I can't be sure about that unless, I'm working with you guys here every single Wednesday. So let's see here. Yeah, being proficient in Magic of Voxel, I think, is really, it has good translation in terms of working with VoxEdit, but Magic of Voxel in some ways, right, like it doesn't do any of the animation, where VoxEdit has that full animation of your assets feature. So I like to use Magic of Voxel for really big things that I'm going to chop up into smaller bits. But for smaller assets, I start with VoxEdit and stay there for the most part, because you want to make it into the broken down chunks as long as you have a vision for it in your mind. Or like sometimes I'll open up a notepad document and then I'll take down what all the components I think are going to need to be moving parts, and then go back in VoxEdit and make those chunks one by one and check off my list to help make it a little more efficient. Yeah, Glow Bikers, definitely give it a go. It's worth it. It's worth it making these games. It takes a bit of time to learn, but again, it's okay. Even if you're just plugging away at things and just like practicing, like I said in an earlier portion of this stream, there is a kind of a tutorial that you can open up in the templates section. It's called Behaviors 101, where if you open that up and then you click edit instead of play, you can see what each object can do and then click play. And after seeing like what it looks like on the back end, you see what it does on the front end. And some of that tutorial needs to be updated, but nonetheless, it should give you the frameworks of what some of these functions are, like what flying objects do or how they look when they're doing it, what predators do, what prey does, what void objects can do, what floating or flying, like moving objects, how do you make that happen? How to increase and decrease climbing speed when you make an object climbable, all sorts of things in there. So it's worth opening that up as a first little starter thing. And then there's a Quests 101 in the templates as well, which is really basic. Again, you look at it in the edit function to see where one component leads to the other. And I think that should help you well along the way. That, after a day of that, you can get in and probably make a quick little game and then start slowly making it more complex. And again, when you're completed with your game, if you want me to play it, tag me on Twitter or come in here on Wednesday and say, hey, play this one by name. Make sure that it's published into the gallery in the Game Maker. And then I can open it up here. And once I've opened it up, looks like somebody updated a game called Wolf's Assault. Potentially. That's on page 3, though. So I can play those games in here, and I can play it live for you, and I will critique it and give you tips on how to improve it live before the game jam is done, right? And then because they can be edited and changed as much as you want until it actually finishes. So this is definitely the goal here. Yes, Gat, I am still rolling right now. I was getting ready to clean up because it looks like the chat's dying down a little bit, but yeah. So this is cool. Oh, working out the size of everything in relation to the blocks. Andy, let me simplify that for you, right? So when you're working with VoxEdit, each little block is a voxel, right? A meter of size, like half a human body in size, is 32 of those little voxels. So an avatar stands 2 meters tall or 64 voxels tall. And that's the template by which you design your assets. If you want to make something that's 4 meters tall, you're going to need 32 times 4 total voxels in the full assembly. It'll automatically be that same scale. Like you can't squish down the voxels so they're super tiny. They'll stay the same scale. So just keep that in mind. If you want to create like a world block asset that looks unique, things like that as part of your artist profile, you can definitely do that. If you want to create full animated assets, that's what I would recommend doing, is creating at least 1 or 2 that actually have a proper animation or 2 in there for your profile, because that is a function of being an artist in the official artists. But again, the artists that get approved in the artist fund, which we are always needing more, that expands as our user base expands. You're gonna want to make sure that animation is done, because those artists do animate regularly. Some of our artist team that started out as regular folks like everyone else here animated the Smurfs or designed some of the Smurfs assets that were sold in the last pre-sale. Right? So we are taking and cultivating the community that becomes creators, and those creators are making, that's a $100 million franchise, the Smurfs. So super cool to be able to be integrated in that. Yeah, it's definitely, VoxEdit is just a super cool program, but I think that's probably going to be all for today for everyone. And Again, I'm going to restart my computer before I get going on the next stream next Wednesday so that this is a little bit more smooth experience for you, and I apologize for that this week. And like I said, I didn't think about it. I've just had it on forever. So thanks for joining me today. Thanks again to those who won. And if you have more questions or comments, you can always, again, hit me up on Twitter at TheVisionX. You can ask the official Sandbox, and I'll usually see those as well. Or you can go to our Telegram or Discord chats. There's Game Maker specific sections over on our Discord. Their Telegram is open-ended. There's VoxEdit specific sections on our Discord. We've got forums, all of it, right? So you can find all of those on sandbox.game just by scrolling to the bottom of the front page. It has our socials at the bottom where you can just click on it and it opens. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks again for watching, and 2 hours of Windows updates incoming. Yeah, maybe. You never know. Again, it has been a couple of months, so probably